When it comes to women's health, there are a lot of issues that are really easy to dismiss as part of aging, or you know what, as women, we just resign ourselves to deal with it.
Yeah, but there are some symptoms that women should never ignore. Very important.
Jessica Belluli is back with us, a double board certified women's health and family nurse practitioner, to answer the questions that you all asked. We had a poll, Jessica, online. This is our starting place. Don't worry, we're going to cover all of the topics that we laid out. But this is so important because I think a lot of women, I've done this myself, you second guess whether symptoms are serious enough to go to the doctor. What are some of the kind of general guidelines of when it's time to see your clinician?
If symptoms are persistent, if they're out of your ordinary, if they're not what you typically experience, if they're becoming frequent, closer together, definitely time to see someone.
Yeah, and what about some specifics that you should never ignore, like persistent bloating and breast changes and heavy irregular periods? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so let's talk about bloating. So bloating is one of those symptoms I think the majority of us will experience at one time or another. I know if I eat 4 pieces of pizza the next morning, I'm going to feel it.
Right.
But if you are feeling bloated more frequently, not even necessarily frequently, but occasionally and multiple days during a month, it's probably something you should be seen for, especially if it's happening in conjunction with something like an intentional weight loss, pelvic pain, abnormal vaginal bleeding, early satiety, meaning you sit down to eat, you take a few bites, and then you're no longer hungry. Those are all things that, you know, with bloating, would let you know it's probably something you need to be seen for.
When it comes to changes in your breast, I think a lot of us know a lump is an obvious cause for concern, but there are other issues that you should be on the lookout for.
There are. So breasts are not exactly the same from one side to the next. I always say they're sisters, not twins. So they don't always look exactly the same to you. But if there is dimpling noticed on one breast, kind of like an orange peel look, if there's eczema or redness, scaling, flakiness on the nipple or the areola, meaning that darker area on the skin, if there's a discharge, especially bleeding, that's important. If the nipple becomes inverted, or if looking at the breast, one seems to be getting larger or is shaped differently, definitely need to come in for a diagnostic mammogram and an ultrasound.
What about ongoing fatigue? I think as women, especially if you're a mother or you're just handling business, working, very busy schedule, you think it's normal to feel tired, but you shouldn't feel tired all the time. That could be a bigger sign for a bigger issue.
Right. So fatigue is something we often feel because we're burned out. But if you look at your sleep hygiene, you look at the amount of hours of sleep that you're getting, you look at you know, you're not scrolling late at night, you're getting a solid night's sleep and you're waking up feeling fatigued, it's probably something you need to see sleep medicine for. We're thinking of sleep apnea and other things like that. And if it's happening in conjunction with unintended weight loss or other symptoms, definitely need to have a really good look with your primary care provider.
And what are the biggest concerns when it comes to either heavy or irregular periods?
Yeah, so with heavy or irregular periods, a one-off irregular periods usually not cause for concern. That happens to most women at some point in their lives. But if it seems like it's getting clottier, heavier, if it seems like you're getting multiple periods in a month, especially if it's happening after intercourse or with pelvic pain, any of those other symptoms, you know, we could be thinking of you know, malignancies or other things that really need to be looked at.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, when you talk about OBGYN health, sex is always a factor. So we'll have some questions for Jessica about that, and then some bigger, broader, general issues that, you know, just anybody, honestly, but particularly women, should never ignore when it comes to our health. We'll be back with more about women's health right after this.